Lasal fans and Animo supporters, now is the best time to secure the most incredible DLSU merchandise in the market through Green Blooded. From today until May 31, you can purchase select shirts for only 250 pesos, get a 50 peso discount voucher for a minimum purchase of 500 pesos, and a 100 peso discount voucher for a minimum purchase of 1,000 pesos. Plus, they're soon dropping the 2023 DLSU Lady Spikers Championship t-shirt, which you will not want to miss out on. Here's a little tease. It will come in 3 different colors with the name of each champion spiker on the back. What better way to celebrate the crown's return to Taft? So visit Green Blooded on Shopee now and show off your animal spirit. Hi everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Navs Effect. I'm your host Naveen Ganglani and today's another special episode. I've got another interview special, another remarkable story to tell, as I would say. I am joined by James Spencer, the winningest UP Fighting Maroon of all time. The guy with the most wins while he wore that UP Fighting Maroons jersey, made the Final Four every single season, made a finals appearance as well, also on the championship. You know, James, your credentials they speak for themselves. How are you doing, buddy? How's life nearby the beach?
It's good, man. It's a bit chilly out here now, but yeah, I had a really good summer back home. It was nice.
Nice. So you flew back to you're in Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
So did you fly back to Melbourne like right after the last UAP season ended, or did you stay out here for a while?
Well, yeah, all the boys that graduated. I remember like it was a bit of a sad week, obviously after losing, but yeah, probably were still in Manila for about a week after the championship, after last season, and yeah, pretty much straight away got here the day before Christmas. So yeah.
Yeah, what was that like that last week? It's crazy because the finals game 3 was a few days before Christmas, right? So right after the season ended, everyone's rushing, getting back home, packing.
Yeah.
And packing probably sucks when you just lost in the finals, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was a bit of a sad pack and kind of just throwing stuff in there and it was fine. It was fine.
So, James, you said after the game 3 loss to Ateneo, right, that you were coming back. And so when you were packing your bags, going back to Melbourne, the whole time, your mindset was kind of like, yeah, I'm packing, but I know I'm returning. Was that the case?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I packed as if I was going to be back in a few weeks. Kind of things didn't pan out that way, so I realized I've got a whole life's worth of stuff to bring back from the Philippines. So I got over there a couple months ago and got everything back over here now at home. So still going through it.
What were those finals days like? Because I know you were pretty tight with Xavier, with Henry, Anton as well, some of the other guys in the team, but particularly that Phil foreign crew, right? Those who came from abroad and came to Manila, then joined the Fighting Maroons. What were those last few days like? Because I'm sure even if you guys are all still friends, which you 100% are, there must have been some kind of, well, this is kind of the ending here, that feeling in the air, because it's, even if you guys are going to stay friends, it's just never exactly going to feel the same. So
Yeah.
how do you kind of approach that, knowing that these were guys you went to battle with constantly every single day for a whole year?
Yeah, I think Zay was probably the one to always bring that up from right when we got back, like before season, right before. I think when we went to Korea, that was like, wow, this is probably like our only trip together.
Right, yeah.
So then from there on in, we kind of we knew what we were in for. It was a bit bittersweet to just, go from spending every single day, every single moment with your guys and to form those bonds, and then just to go, our own separate ways. Some stayed in Manila and then us going back home. It was definitely, it was always going to happen, but we always kept it in mind, and we enjoyed our time together. And those are my guys. We're gonna be friends for life. So I'm sure we'll plan a trip back to the Philippines sometime soon.
Who's the like most sensitive kind of softy inside, like between you, Zave, Henry, the other guys? I mean, y'all act tough outside. Like, I know you guys all act tough outside, but y'all are a bunch of softies inside too. You guys
Of
just don't
course,
show it.
of
But
course, of
who's like the
course.
most sensitive softie from all of you guys?
Yeah, look, we all have our soft sides, but I'm I'm gonna go with Henry. I'm gonna go with Henry because
Ooh, yeah, gentle giant. Yeah.
for sure, Henry.
So tell me something Henry would do that kind of people, because everyone sees him as like this big bruising like WWE character, right? Especially if he chest bumps Zave and like nearly knocks him unconscious. But like tell me like an example of something Henry would do that actually shows who he is inside.
Man, Henry was funny, man. He'd sometimes act like the jealous girlfriend.
Oh.
Just always like wanting that attention and just being hard to read.
Right,
Uh
right.
but yeah, Henry's a real definitely we used to talk about it a lot when we met in the bubble or when we met in the hotel. It was kind of like Noah and I greeted Zave and Henry. They just got in from
Yeah.
the States. And man, I remember just looking at Henry and Zave and just being like, these are scary looking dudes. Um, especially Henry, he just looked like, the most intimidating guy and like you couldn't get a smile out of him.
Yeah, yep.
But just to like learn, get to know him and like, you know, just once you know someone deeper and you know how they can have a joke and just chill out. It's definitely funny to see how they present themselves versus how they really are.
Right, right. You mentioned Noah there too, and Noah is really important to what you guys accomplish, even if he wasn't getting a lot of playing time. Now, everyone's
Yeah,
first assumption might be, yeah, he would cheer you guys on the bench. He's probably the veteran voice in the locker room that everyone listens to. But
yeah,
I also thought Noah was kind of a bridge, between the local players and maybe you guys who came from abroad to play for the UP Fighting Maroons, right? Because Noah was one of those rare guys who can really connect with anyone. We talked to him for like 5-10 minutes. He's down to earth. He's a nice guy. So you like connect with him instantly. So not having that for season 85, do you think that factored into the team chemistry and how the season played out?
yeah. I do. To be honest, it was very Noah was very crucial, very
Mm-hmm.
crucial. Yeah, like you said, he provided that kind of that bridge between foreigners and the homegrown Filipinos. And yes, I wouldn't say we struggled in the next year with communication, but not having Noah around, Noah was he'd make sure everyone was included. Was very
Mm.
inclusive. He tried to make everyone feel comfortable, and he would always kind of like poke and prod at people if they like he'd come up to Cyril and the boys that are like they don't speak very much English, and he would just kind of dare them to speak English, like get out of your shell and
Yeah.
speak English. And then obviously like same with us, he'd be trying to teach us Tagalog and phrases, so the communication and chemistry increases. And while that's probably not a overly appreciated side of what we were able to achieve in our championship run, I think it was extremely important, like hugely important, the role that Noah played.
There have been some murmurs, or I don't want to call them rumors because it would feel like doing that would add more life to what was being said, right? But when you're covering the team, you're around the team, like I was for you guys the last few seasons, you kind of hear a few things here and there, right? And one of the aspects that I heard that I never really confirmed or pursued as a story was how there's a little bit of a divide maybe between the foreigners and the homegrown players. Maybe not exactly to the point where you guys don't like each other, because you guys still all liked and respected each other, right? But it
Yeah.
goes back to what you said about communication. Do you think season 85 there was the lack of communication between the both sides that might have carried over to the performance in the basketball court?
It was definitely something that was addressed. It was noticed that we would kind of just group off and hang out with who we were comfortable hanging out with. That's why when we went to Korea, we made it a thing to, when you're going to go out and eat in between trainings and stuff, or if you're going to go out and sightsee, to just go with a different group, or try to enjoy people's company that you might not usually sit with or conversate with. But yeah, it was definitely something that we spoke it was sort of ongoing, just trying to get us to be a bit more cohesive and a bit more together. Probably just one of the factors as to why maybe things didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
Are you a fan of the NBA? Do you enjoy betting on your favorite teams and players? Then you need to check out DexWin, the ultimate platform for cryptocurrency sports betting. Here's how it works. First, sign in and select buy crypto to get started. Then, set your currency as PHP and select USDT in Polygon or USDC in Polygon to buy it. Next, complete a one-time KYC that takes only 2 minutes. And just like that, you're ready to place your bets on your favorite NBA teams and players. With DexWin, you can enjoy fast, secure, and hassle-free cryptocurrency betting. So what are you waiting for? Confirm your order today and start winning big on DexWin. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to bet on the NBA with cryptocurrency. Visit DexWin today and start betting like a pro, but remember, bet responsibly.
Would you say after the effort to kind of make both sides connect with each other more, you were able to maybe understand some of your local teammates better or maybe build relationships with them?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Even still to this day, like I know I missed out on so many like CJ and Cyril's like funny jokes.
Yeah.
And certain things just can't be translated, you know? So just kind of understanding, obviously, like I would hear these guys cracking up all the time and always laughing and just having a good time. And I remember that's sort of how the foreigners would bond. They would sort of feel a bit left out in those moments and just being like, oh, I wish I understood. I wish I understood what was going on. So we're just kind of like laughing, like,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Was there ever a time that maybe you guys got a little anxious that, they're talking in Tagalog, they're joking, they're laughing. And look, a lot of you guys love to joke around before practice, during practice, after practice, right? But was there ever a time where you maybe got a little anxious, like, are they talking about me? And I don't understand what they're saying because it's in Tagalog.
Look, I don't know, man. I spent a lot of like even when I first got to UP, maybe a little bit of that, just
Yeah.
because I felt like fish out of water and almost like everything I was doing was wrong. So of course they'd probably be talking about me. But no, I think you can almost tell. You can almost tell when someone's talking about you, whether you're just picking up on tones or like body language. But yeah, not too much suspicion there.
Yeah, and the point of me asking all those questions too for the listeners isn't exactly maybe to harp on that there was a divide between both sides, because we want to make it clear there was no divide between both sides. I think
Yeah.
this is just, especially now where we live in an age where college basketball programs recruit foreigners, not just from the state, but from like Australia, from Canada, from other parts of the world too. I think this is a factor that people don't really realize right away or don't always take into account. But hey,
Yeah.
last week I also had CJ in this podcast, and one of the answers he gave me to a question I had stuck out with me particularly, where I asked him, okay, so CJ, what's the difference of season 84 and season 85 in terms of how you guys played Ateneo in the finals? And I thought
Yeah.
his perspective was unique because he was watching 85 from the bench, injured, recovering, and he played 84 even if he was injured. And
Yeah.
he said that he felt in season 84, you guys, the Fighting Maroons, you went out there with the intention of making Ateneo play your style of play. You went out there wanting to impose what UP Fighting Maroons basketball was on Ateneo. But in
Yeah.
turn, or in the other hand, in season 85, he felt that you were all trying to stop or defend what Ateneo was trying to do to you guys rather than playing your style of play too much. So, as someone who was in the court for 84 and 85, you led the Fighting Maroons in scoring in game 3 of that 85 finals. Do you agree with CJ's assessment there? Did you kind of see it the same way?
Look, I think I definitely do remember us talking about it a lot and saying, "Hey, we're gonna bring this game to them. They're gonna have to respond to the pace and the style of game that we play." I remember that in season 84. But that's also what we tried to do in season 85. I just felt like maybe season 84, certain things went right for us. And just during that time when I was going through it and just talking about it with all my teammates, I definitely felt like season 84, winning the championship, it honestly just felt like it was already written. It felt like destiny, everyone was saying 36 years since we've won a championship. This is the time to do it. So I don't know, maybe I think there was maybe a little bit more desperation from the
Okay.
group in season 84. And not just that, but just going through that tough bubble, like being in the bubble for 6 months, and just really wanting that payoff for all the sacrifices we all made. Not to say that there wasn't sacrifices moving forward to the next season in season 85. I would probably just say the difference in season 85 was we knew how to play together. It was very much the same group, not many new additions. It was just our willingness to get on that same page and play with a common goal in mind. I think sometimes, and not to name anyone, like we literally all went through and had our games where we would go and sort of do our own thing a little bit. But I feel
Okay.
like where we differed was our willingness to stick to the game plan and stick together.
The concentration factor to like sticking to the game plan.
Yeah.
He also mentioned about how having Richie for season 84 provided more spacing on the court for all of you to operate on offense. Do you see it the same way too?
Yeah, I think just the attention that he drew every time he had feet in the paint, he's got pretty much everyone helping off, trying to swipe the ball,
Yeah.
or just yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree.
Interesting. When you look back in season 85, do you have anything, or the game in particular, is there anything now where you kind of tell yourself, oh, I wish I did that play differently, or I wish I did this sequence differently?
I think of course everyone has like things they wish they did better. I think for me, probably just realizing it was sort of tough though, because I was trying to navigate playing with an injury as well.
Right.
But probably just realizing what I could do for the team, especially offensively, because I knew what I could do defensively, and I knew that I can play that role of being the defensive stopper. And if the other team, like I'm guarding the other team's best player, if they're a guard. And I knew that, but just kind of diversifying in my role and probably contributing more on offense, whether that just be through creation or, my own, looking for my own shot, whatever it was. I feel like there's definitely times I could have been a bit more aggressive, but also kind of tough because
Right.
of the limitation of the injury and whatnot. But yeah, I can't fault myself. I gave everything, every effort. Every time I played, definitely gave it my all. So yeah, no regrets.
I'm sure you don't. So let's kind of paint a timeline picture here, right? Season 84 finals against Ateneo, that's where you hurt your foot. You suffer a plantar fasciitis injury. And you played through it, you win the championship. So at that point, adrenaline takes over and you're good. I mean, my foot
Yeah.
hurts, but I just won a championship. I'm a champion. No one can take this away from me, right? But then the
Yeah.
off season is, I'd have to double check, but this is probably the shortest off season in UAAP basketball history, right? Because
Yeah.
you had to rush season 84, have the bubble, and then play season 85 again a few months later. So you can't really fully recover. I remember you told me that a full recovery from your injury, rehab, whatnot, would take about 4 to 5 months, but you rushed it in 2 months. You were back in game action because you wanted to be out there with your guys.
Yeah.
And then how much pain were you playing through the whole season 85?
Probably right. I was right at my limits. So I guess to give it a number out of 10, easily like a 5 or 6.
Out of 10.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
obviously I would have good and bad days. I'd
Yeah.
have days where the foot's feeling pretty good. Maybe I can go up and dunk it or do something athletic. And then I'd have my days where I'm just like, damn, I can barely move. I don't think I can explode too hard off my foot. So I definitely had to adjust my game and my approach day to day. Yeah, and I took every measure I could to sort of manage, and like with foot taping, some anti-inflammatories and just getting constant treatment, constantly getting released and doing rehab right through. Yeah, it was all for the goal of bringing back another championship. And yeah, I don't regret that decision, but yeah, it definitely did take a toll on not only my body, but also probably definitely a mental aspect of getting used to playing in a state of survival and getting used to playing whilst navigating pain as well is kind of it's a bit of a weird thing, especially once it goes for like a long period of time, because whether you realize it or not, even on a subconscious level, you might be making adjustments to how you approach the game. Like I know certain times I would be like, okay, I can't explode going left to the ring because that hurts. So I might just pass the ball or settle for a jump shot. So yeah, in that way, it sort of changed my game a little bit.
Yeah, and you guys were hit with an injury bug pretty strong in season 85 because you were hurt. Carl hurt his ankle in the final four. JD missed the first round with a hamstring issue. I think Terrence might have been a little bit dinged up as well. And there were just injury, and Zave, of course, game 2 of the finals. Talk about horrible timing, right? So I think there were just so many factors there. But let's go back to you.
The UAAP is back for its second semester sports. Make sure to check out Get Blued for all your staple Team Ateneo gear, and of course for your men's basketball championship shirt in case you haven't gotten it yet. Visit Get Blued on social media and their stores at Shopee Mall and Laz Mall. And remember, always buy original.
So you go home to Melbourne for Christmas. You're expecting you're probably going to come back in the Philippines in the next few weeks or maybe the next few months. Get ready for a season 86, your final dance, your chance to win another championship before you go. So at what point did it start shifting from, okay, I'm coming back, I'm going to be a co-captain, I'm going to lead our team to a title? When did it shift to, you know what, I might not actually come back?
Probably around February. So just, on the second month of being home, I guess there was certain miscommunications between management and myself, between the team. Yeah. Coach Gold, myself, just not sort of being on the same page, and then also just feeling like I needed a bit more time to properly recover and see the people that I needed to see over here, having all my specialists and whoever I've been seeing for my recovery here. Yeah, sort of just, I guess, like the writing was on the wall too, and just feeling that the team was also going in a new direction, loading up with players, and obviously that's fine. Like I think the recruitment it makes sense for where UP is now, and obviously me only having one year left, they're planning for the future. But yeah, I guess for me it really was just probably not getting the love back that I thought I would. So I just I kind of needed to make that decision to just focus on myself and maybe take that next step whilst focusing on my recovery.
So this influx of recruitment from UP and the direction the Fighting Maroons decided to take moving forward with new players coming in, the changes, that factored into your decision too of deciding, it's maybe time for me to move on.
It was one of the factors, but for me, that's a very natural it's a natural thing that comes in. I've been there for 4 years. Of course, they need to recruit players to replace, but I can't really go too into the details of it. But just disagreements, basically. Yeah, disagreements, basically. On my side and on their side as well. But it's all love in the end. It's all good.
So those disagreements, and by the way, I won't go into detail about that because I know that that's sensitive, privileged information that you might want to keep between just both sides, right? But those disagreements, if I can ask this, would you say it got to a point where it might have affected your relationship now with the basketball program, or would you say you leave the basketball program in good terms, especially considering all the years of hard work and battle you went through with them?
Yeah, I mean, it came to an end probably a bit earlier than I would have thought it would, but it really doesn't take away from my whole experience and every year that I spent at UP. I think it's all love. Once I'm back over there, I'm sure once I see everyone again, it's going to be all laughs, all smiles, no hard feelings. It's just, it is what it is, and we can't stay in college forever.
Well, I wish we could. I mean, don't get me started about the things that I wanted to do. I would have done more if I was still in college. But so we come out with the announcement, right, in April that you're not coming back. And just some backstory to it, James was kind enough to keep in contact with me about his development on his final season and tell me about whether or not he was coming back. You did tell me like maybe sometime in advance before we came out with the announcement, but you wanted to hold off on the announcement. And I remember you wanted to kind of hold off on the announcement because you were still holding out hope that maybe you would come back, right? That maybe there would be that
Yeah.
slight sliver of opportunity that things would work out and you'd be back for your 5th year. But
Of course.
I believe the time where it really felt real, where it really felt almost inevitable that you weren't going to come back was sometime in March when you flew to Manila. Very subtly, by the way. I don't think people really realize you're in Manila, except those who followed your IG stories on the airplane. But about that time, you come to Manila, and I believe that was when you said goodbye to some of the teammates of yours on the Maroons, and also when you cleared out the rest of your stuff in University Hotel. So take us
Yeah.
through that experience. Was that emotionally draining? Was that challenging? I mean, what was
Ooh.
it like?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was definitely a bit of a strain emotionally. Just I guess the situation I was going through and kind of like the stresses of moving. Also just wondering how I would handle letting people know that I've made my decision to move on. But yeah, I went back to Manila a bit incognito. I didn't really want anyone to know because I had certain things I needed to handle before entertaining other people. But it was good. I went over there. I sat down with people in the management. I sat down with Coach Gold and talked it out, explained my side. They explained theirs. And then I was only there for a week, and then I went to practice right before I headed back home and just said goodbye to all the guys. And yeah, it was bittersweet. It was bittersweet.
What were some of the conversations you had with your teammates that day? Was there like a particular one that stood out?
So I remember I walked in the gym and CJ Cancino comes up to me and he goes, "Fuck you." And I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "What's that for?" Like he already knew.
Yeah,
But the funniest thing was probably Malik. Malik sort of, I think Malik thought I was joking.
really.
He just didn't really, it sort of flew over his head. Like I even sat down and was like talking to the guys. I'm like, yeah, I feel like it's best that I move on and I'm going to be heading back home. I'm just here to sort of like get my things and leave. And then yeah, Malik messages me and he's like, "What's going on, man? Like what the hell?"
So wait, did you see Malik in person though? And that's when he thought you were joking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
And
there
then
when I said goodbye. So
and then he actually didn't believe you, and then he messages you later on. And he's like, "Wait, you're actually leaving?"
yeah.
And also, by the way, I'm guessing that CJ, what he said was in a joking way, right? Not serious.
No, of course.
Yeah. Because CJ restoried my post too, announcing that you weren't coming back, and he kind of like said not exactly the same word, but somewhere along those lines. So it was like, he was really sad. It seems like it.
Yeah.
And these are guys you won a championship with, so
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, the stories you must have together in the bubble, talking late nights, preparing for a championship. It's that really is the beauty of playing college basketball, right? Just being with the guys on the team bus,
Yeah.
in practice, joking around. Those moments where you might actually get like really pissed off at each other, but those moments too where you realize, you know what, I love this guy. This guy's my brother, right? Like,
Yeah.
do people
For
not
sure.
really? It's not easy to see that from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, I think I mean, I don't know how many games I played over my college career, but other than my battles against Ateneo, I don't really remember much basketball. It's more so on the side of the friendships and the people that I met and yeah, just like the relationships that I built. And I think that's probably just going to apply to life wherever I go. Because basketball is basketball. It's kind of it'll fade. It'll fade. It'll be hot and then eventually it'll fade unless it's a really like iconic moment.
By the
But
way,
yeah, definitely.
I think that was 72 games that you played in your 4 seasons with UP. If that's assuming you played every game throughout your 4-year career, just did the math real quick, so I'm not so accurate, but 72 games, man. Can you imagine that? 72?
Yeah, wild, wild.
Wild indeed.
Probably a few DMPs in there.
Those are the days with your Zorro hairstyle, right? I mean, you got the long
Oh my
hair.
God, bro. Terrible.
Oh, you regret that
Terrible.
now? You actually regret that?
I don't know, man. I was trying to make the mullet cool. I was trying to bring the mullet back, and then I don't know what happened, man. I don't know, man. I started rocking a top bun, tied up the top bun, and I still had the mullet. It was messy, but
Yeah. Hey, your
yeah.
shooting improved after you cut your hair. I mean, maybe that was a factor. I'm just saying, geez, but that 84 season was just something else, right? Because you beat Ateneo, you end their winning streak, you're in a high, and then you lose to LaSalle game 1. And then game 2, it looks like you're gonna lose to them, right? And then
Yeah,
you
man.
win that game. Game 1 against Ateneo, it looks like you guys are gonna lose again. You win somehow. Game 2, it looks like you guys might win. You lose, and then game 3, it just looks like shit's gonna happen, and you guys pull it off at the end. I'll
Yeah.
never forget the story you told me about saving that video of your missed shot against UST. That was season 82. Did you actually like watch that video a bunch of times leading up to season 84? Because I believe you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then like even because obviously there was such a big layoff between 82 and 84. I remember just once gyms opened back up because of the pandemic, I started just like getting lots of shots up, and then I started extending my range and trying to shoot deeper shots. And that was one shot I would literally I would spin the ball out to myself and pretend I was shooting that same fadeaway from deep range 3. But yeah, it's definitely something I thought about. And when that moment arrived in game 1, season 84, I literally just felt like this is like it's already written. Like I have to take this shot, and there's no way it's gonna miss. That's just how it felt. And yeah, I just went out there and did it. Like, yeah, it was really.
You did it twice too. That elimination game and then game 1 of the finals. I
Yeah.
mean, that was, one more story underrated. Okay, so game 2 against LaSalle, season 84. So that morning of the Final Four game, there's a video that comes out of certain LaSalle players dancing a song. And let's just say,
remember that.
yeah, it caught some attention on social media. Well, what I found interesting in particular too was your reply. You were like, bums. You just type it and tweet it out. So can you just? I'm just so curious. Take me through the process of what made you tweet that. And when you guys were trailing LaSalle, was there at any point where you told yourself, "Shit, why'd I actually tweet that out?"
You know what? No, yeah. I mean, I don't really remember what it was about, but I think it was controversial or whatever, something political.
Yep.
And I know that they were being viewed in a bad light. But it was just me. It was just me having a bit of fun. It was like I remember seeing the post. I was probably in the room with like Zave and Noah and all the other guys, and I was like, "You dare me to tweet this?" And and I just did it. And then
wait, who dared you to do it? I'm so curious. Who dared you?
I'll take responsibility. No one forced me to do anything, but I wasn't alone when I did that.
And you, I mean, knowing your personality, you're like, yeah, hell yeah, sure, I'll do it. I'll gladly do it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That was quite funny. You were active on Twitter though. I always found that like really awesome about you, because there was one point too where I posted a highlight of an Ateneo UP game and you tag Ange Kwame and you're like, hey Ange, that's a moving screen. And he's like, what are you talking about? And that was just like the funniest stuff ever, man. Like I really appreciate it when you guys do that, because it's all fun and love, right? The UAAP experience, the competition. And I'm guessing a part of you misses it already.
For sure. It's always going to be a chapter of my life that I look back fondly, of just the whole hype around the UAAP, and it's quite a platform, man. It's an experience, to say the least. Yeah.
Right. So what's your immediate basketball plans? Let's shift to that now, because you've got basketball opportunities, especially for you young players now too. There are like doors opening all over Asia, other places in the world. I mean, freaking hell, imagine if someone told you back in 2018 that one was going to play basketball in Lithuania. You would have been like, oh, no fucking way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, pardon my French there. But now when you think about it, like, do you have any plans or goals that you want to achieve?
Well, I think once I saw like 30 and all these guys, like all these Filipino guys sort of make that jump to Japan, even Juan and Harvey, and yeah, just seeing that and kind of realizing, hey, like we all sort of are coming up through the same system, playing in the UAAP, and just sort of like realizing that might be a potential like pathway for me to pursue. I definitely had that in my mind. Probably even heading back from the pandemic to prepare for season 84, like sort of knowing this might be a potential way that things play out.
Right.
Yeah. So as for right now, I'm playing NBL 1 at the team, the club that I grew up playing for, Dandenong Rangers. So that's been good. It's not my first time playing there. I played there right before. I played there during the pandemic in
Pandemic, yeah.
2021. So yeah, man, it's just good. I think for me, it's good preparation for whatever is next. Because I'm playing against grown men. I'm playing against guys that are even in the NBL. Because the seasons are kind of staggered. It's not like the NBA and the G League where kind of seasons run
Right.
at the same time. There's layover and guys do get opportunities in the NBL that do well in the NBL 1. For me, it's sort of just like I'm an open book. I'm sort of just taking it day by day. I've just been focusing on my recovery as well, focusing on my body, trying to get myself into the best shape I can get into, basically. And it's been really nice to have this time to just almost, first of all, unwind and then rebuild. And it's not been time that we've had, obviously, besides the pandemic, but last year was just so flat out and there was almost no room to breathe. So it's been nice to sort of slow down and reassess and look at where I want to go and look at how I want to do things.
Yeah, I bet those soul searching experiences, they're more helpful when you're 15 minutes away from the beach, right? I mean, you're just there during sunset, staring out in the water in the sun, and you're
Yeah,
like, so where do I see my life in 10 years?
yeah, I've had many of those moments in the last few months.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
blame you if you had a beer or two to accompany you every now and then. I mean, I would enjoy a cold beer in the beach right now. Okay, so back to this. I got
You
lost
got the
there for a
shirt to go with it,
second.
bro.
Hell yeah, man. Hey, yeah, James, I'm just leaving this pod now. I'm gonna drive to no, I'm just joking. Your body compared to where it was when the UAP season ended, and your foot specifically, would you say you fully recovered?
I wouldn't say I've fully recovered. Probably, if I had to give it a percentage, I'm probably say I'm like 80%. Still playable, but I just taking it day by day. I can see the progress. I can see where it's going. And yeah, just that confidence in my body and what I'm able to do with it is definitely growing. So, I mean, I can't really do much else other than just trust the process and just keep putting in my daily deposits with my rehab and whatnot. And yeah, just enjoy being home. And yeah, it's been good, man.
How about in terms of potential playing opportunities? Have there been discussions about, like you mentioned, maybe Japan or somewhere in Asia or right now, or maybe extending in the NBL?
Opportunities here at home, I more than open to. I'd love to. As someone that kind of developed my identity as a basketballer through the Australian system and playing at a high level here, it's definitely something I see myself doing in the future, whether it's the immediate future or even a couple years down the road. I definitely think I'll be able to make something happen in the NBL. As for like my next move, I am definitely considering Asian routes. I would love to end up in Japan. That's probably where I'm gonna aim my sights at. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been keeping up with some of the players who have been going to Japan recently. One of which is your former teammate Carl Tamayo.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of the guys there. I've played against a lot of the guys, so obviously on a personal level, I sort of know how I stack up, and I know how I could also contribute to teams over there. So I can definitely see myself like fitting into one of those roles. And there's so many teams to play for over there. You'd kind of be as a Filipino player at this point in my career, it's definitely a very attractive situation to want to land in. So yeah.
For sure. I mean, if you go to Japan, the sushi is awesome too. I mean, you can't go,
Yeah,
can't go
great
wrong with
country.
sushi. Definitely. So, are you still keeping up with though with the recent developments of the UP Fighting Maroons? You know, I'm not sure if you're going to be religiously watching all their games for season 86, but you're probably going to kind of read up on results, check on social media and whatnot. You
For
plan to
sure.
do all of that stuff?
For sure. Because, at the end of the day, like I had plans of being there. So, and obviously guys that I've played with and formed bonds with are still there. And I'm really excited to kind of see how guys carve out new roles and how they thrive in new roles. Also, just to see how the guys that have been there and have been so amazing kind of see how they up it a level. I'm sure there's a lot of, there's a lot on the plates of Malik, my CJ. I think Harold's going to be huge. And yeah, just all like it's exciting and definitely the start of a new era for UP for sure.
Technically, you could still come back, right? Technically, or would you say that's just 100% out of the picture now?
Who knows? Who knows in this life, Naveen? Who knows?
I like that. I like that. Okay.
I'd never say never. Never say never.
Never say never. Okay. But right now, at this moment, you would probably lean towards no.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. But never say never, right? You never
Never
know.
say never.
Never know what may happen. All right, I've taken up a lot of your time here, and I don't want to take away from your beach time. Nah, I'm
Chill.
just
It's
joking.
nighttime, bro.
Hey, that does well for me at least. The beach is pretty peaceful at night too. Just some final words, just kind of reflect on the journey you've been through last half decade, going through a pandemic, winning a championship, going through an injury, making it to the finals but falling short a few times, and this chapter of your story. I know it's hard to contextualize when you imagine how it might look like 10, 15 years from now. But if you had to kind of picture it, how big of a part is that in the memories of your life?
It's huge. It's huge. My experience in the Philippines and just how I got there, it was a huge pivot in my life, and I just found myself in quite a unique position. And growing up with all the people that I grew up with, the typical route would have been to just, go to the States and play 4 years of basketball and then come back and play at home. But for me to just kind of end up where I did in the Philippines with all these opportunities, just like I think a lot of what goes on and a lot of what makes the college experience special for the Philippines is just the people and the fans and kind of just the craze and hype that surrounds basketball as the nation's favorite sport. Yeah, man. Like I feel like I went to college twice because I had such a different experience my first like season 81 and 82, then having all that time off, nearly 2 years off with the pandemic, and then having a jam-packed year with 2 seasons with a completely new team. I just felt like I learned so much, and I felt like I experienced so much growth, not only on a basketball level, if anything, way not even on a basketball level, like the mental and spiritual and emotional aspects of everything that I went through. I couldn't say I've done anything wrong. Like really happy to have met the people that I've met. Shit, man, like it's all over, and I'm here sitting on a podcast with you, talking to you still. So it's insane. And then, you just see it. I've been able to kind of like grow myself a little platform, and now I can do something with that. I might not be with UP anymore, but I've still got somewhat of an audience. So that's something I'm very grateful for.
For sure. And I have to tell you, James, that hairstyle, I kind of liked it. I thought it was a good look. I mean, it wasn't too bad, right? Let's be real. You're the mullet, and maybe it might make a comeback one day. No, but in all seriousness, James, just getting to watch your career from where you started to where you are now, it's been an honor, obviously, and it's been great to cover you. You've always been very candid and open when it comes to interviews and your thoughts, and I've always really appreciated that. So thank you. And hey, look,
Thank
I
you.
hope this isn't the last we see of you in Philippine basketball. I mean, hey, if you think maybe sometime down in the future you could come to the PBA or we see you for the national team, it'd be great to see you ball out here again.
Yeah, man. Bro, of course. I'll always come back to the Philippines, and if the national team comes calling, I'm hoping I can answer that call for sure.
Awesome. And hey, that might actually happen. Who knows, right? Because like you said, never say never. Thanks a
Never say
lot,
never.
James. Appreciate you big time. Words can't express it enough. And having you on this podcast finally made it happen. It's been great. And I hope it's not the last time we have you on this podcast too.
For sure, man. We need to have one down the road with all the boys.
Oh hell yeah. We'll get you, Zave, Henry, all the guys together, and you can just tell me stories about all the stuff you did. Maybe on and off the record, because some stuff we might have to keep on the deal.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Zave and Henry. Hope you guys were listening to this. If you are, hope to see you both in the Philippines too. And James, Godspeed, man. Godspeed.
Appreciate you, Naveen.